Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, there's some lag. I apologize. Oh, I think it caught up. I apologize if my video and audio is not connected together. I don't know what happened to OBS at the last second there. You know what's hilarious though? Is it turns out like whenever we do the dancing countdown, remember those old days pre-copyright strike time? Everyone in the chat would be like, "What is this? What's going on? Why is Drew dance?" Like I'd always see the chat act like they had never seen the dance countdown before, even though it's been the exact same countdown for like 10 months now. I'm pretty sure it's coming up on like 10 months of the exact same countdown, and people are like, "What is this?" And now we start removing the countdown because we want to be extra careful and make sure the only content we show on here is owned by us completely. And now everyone's like, "Where's the dancing? What happened to the dance?" Everyone's already gotten used to it. Uh, where's the Drew dance? It's temporarily suspended because we're being extra careful given the Twitch got a copyright strike. If you don't know the story, go back, watch the earlier Twitch stream where we dive into it. It's labeled as some bad news. It's on the Taylor's podcast channel. I believe it's still on the Twitch page. So, yeah, whatever. You can go back and watch it if you want. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Apple ad Apple put up. I think it was today. I just watched it. Like, yeah, it was 3 hours ago. It's called the whole working from home thing. And I typically don't enjoy Apple commercials. I think they're really, really cringy. And I think most of the time they don't even advertise the product. It feels like they go too artsy sometimes with it. Like, I remember this one freaking, I think it was like a Frankenstein parody commercial they did. And the whole selling point, the only involvement there was with an Apple product of any kind was I think someone used the voice memo app for singing. It's like a Christmas time. I might be remembering it wrong, but it was basically like the only feature they showcased on the iPhone was that it could record voice memos, and nothing else was brought up in relation to Apple products. And I was just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then of course there's the what's the computer thing. Um, yeah, I'll do another dancing countdown. People are so passionate about this. We cannot leave it alone. Okay, we'll do another sorry, not cancing down, a dancing countdown. Once we get some music that I can dance to again. I can't just slide in new music because then I won't be dancing correctly to it because I listened to the actual music you heard during the countdown. So I'll have to record a new dancing countdown later. Once we get a song that we have permission to use, Randy might make one where we might find one that we're comfortable using. We'll see. It'll come in time. It's just not right now. We'll get there. Let's see. A talk stream yesterday and a tech stream today. We absolutely love to see it. I do enjoy live streaming. I try to live stream as much as I can. So I will keep that up as much as possible. I'm not quiet. I'm looking at OBS and I'm almost peaking the microphone, so you can turn me up on your device if you can. But the working from home thing, I'm starting to think is going to become more and more normal. I think I saw a news report recently that Apple's going to start asking their internal employees basically to try to keep working from home for the rest of the year. So this is going to be somewhat indefinite at this point of how long people are going to keep working from home. I'm very happy to say I was kind of ahead of my time with it because I started working from home about a year before the pandemic started becoming a global thing. So I kind of got accustomed to it and got more comfortable with it. And I think more and more people are going to have to adjust and figure out ways of working remotely, which honestly, I think in the age of the internet where we have more and more technology and we're connected, some of my closest friends like Randy who's in the chat, some of the best friends I've ever made are people that I just ran into on Twitter once or ran into during a live stream once. You're right. I do think office culture is slowly going to become less and less useful. Yes, I'm sure there are some advantages to working in person, but at this day and age, there's a whole bunch of drawbacks involved with that to the point that I think companies are going to have to do their best to figure out how far we can exactly go without having to meet in person. And I think this makes a whole ton of sense because especially in areas like Silicon Valley where they're having these like housing crises, right? Where like Apple wants people to work there at their facility, but it just so happens that their headquarters and their company is based in one of the worst real estate situations. Oh God, there's lag. No, 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 come back, come back. What happened? What happened? No. It went down to nothing. Oh, it's coming back up? No. It was coming back up. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta turn off a few devices. Let me see if that helps. There was definitely some lag. I'm gonna wait till we get everybody back because for some reason OBS went down for 0. Give it a second. I'll go off on my tangent in a second. I have no clue what happened. I'm gonna blame Big Sur for that. One sec. We should be coming back. Okay, Vinny saying it's back. Good. Andrew Sabile, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub. Let me know when it's back, okay? People are saying rip audio. Was that game right? There it is. Audio. Back to normal. Okay. I'm getting some people saying we're back. Some people saying they're here audio. Coming through good now. Okay, good. Thank you. I don't know what the heck happened there. I put the iMac to sleep just in case it was doing something in the background. This is a developer beta we're streaming from, okay? So there cannot be any issues blamed on public release. Okay, audio is fine now. Sorry about that, people. Andrew Sabile says he ordered an iPad Pro and Magic Keyboard July 1st, but they're delayed until August 10th. Wow. That's a long time. Man, maybe they're in demand or limited in production capacity, one or the other. Well, I hope you get it soon. Anyway, we should be back now. What the rant I was trying to go on here with more and more working from home is that, you know, companies like Apple and Google, they have a very large presence in Silicon Valley, and there's a ton of people that they want to be working at their facility, which in my opinion, I think it's going to become an increasingly dated idea that, you know, if you have a successful business and you have this successful brand, you have to have this giant grand facility with great glass windows that everybody walks into because it gives this sense of home and this sense of teamwork when we all work together. And I'm sure there's some truth to it, but as they're discovering, okay, you guys need to work from home, you need to work from home more, we can't bring as many people together as we used to, I think it's going to become more common for people to be like, you know what, why do I have to live in the, you know, worst real estate business, like the worst real estate climate in the world, potentially, because of how just crazy housing costs in the Bay Area, but I'm just basically all I need to work is an internet connection and a few devices, because I can do all my software coding from home, I can do all my communication with my other teams from home, I can do design from home. All I really need is some computers to work on and a way to communicate with my team members. So if I can do all that, why do I have to choose this really impractical place to live? Why not let people work basically from wherever they need to in the world, as long as they got, you know, a way to connect with their teams and work on whether it's a Mac or an iPad or just... That's what the whole working from home thing made me feel. It reminded me of the hecticness that I feel a lot of the time, that I've been feeling for the past year and a half or so of working from home, of just, you know, all these devices working together, being able to airdrop and share files and talk to Nick and Randy and be going bouncing back and forth. You know, why the benefits of city living, I think, are going to die down over time, and people are going to realize, like, hey, having everything in this one location that's really expensive and pricey to be in is not really making much sense anymore if we're going to be doing more and more stuff remotely. Sorry. Randy's saying, literally my life right now, why pay so much to live in San Diego? It's a good true. That could also apply to schools as well, yeah. I think, especially colleges, I think there's already a lot of, I think, online-only colleges that you can take all these courses online, and you're like, okay, really, all we're really doing here is having a teacher talk and hand out papers and tests and telling you, read this, outline this, and then I will test you on it. Why do we need a giant big facility that everybody gets together with and shares germs with if we're just spreading information? Because we can do that online now. So I think the online college stuff could, in online school as well, could pretty much boom, especially with the pandemic. And it looks like cases, very sadly, I'm not happy to see this, are shooting way back up as things are reopening. And I don't have like a great solution to it other than just we need to keep things more isolated and keep things on lockdown if possible. There's certain jobs, there's certain businesses that literally just cannot do remotely, and that's understandable. That's different, Like we can't. It's very difficult to do grocery stores remotely because there's a physical transaction of items. It's kind of difficult. So yeah, it's quite a predicament we're in right now. But I think this is going to be a big glimpse at what a lot of our future could end up being. You don't need a big giant facility. Everybody needs to come together too. If we're just exchanging information, you know, having space is nice. Go figure. Space is nice. Having your own space, even nicer. um, I live in it, Drew. It sucks. Yeah. Gamer Ike, I think, is the guy I met up with for the Model Y video, and yeah, he's from around there. That's another classic example of just like awesome meetups we get to do from the internet. That I've met more people from SoCal in the Bay Area online than I have met in my own little community in the place I am. Is the video hinting at any new products, services, etc.? I don't think so. From the video I saw, nothing was really teased. I saw a few people overanalyzing it. They definitely missed a few things, kind of like in classic Apple fashion, just like the morning show and stuff like that. They kind of mess up certain things, like the iPad Pros they were using in the TV commercial. They didn't have rounded corners, which I thought was odd. So they're using these iPads, but the screen goes right to the edge and it's completely squared off. It's not curved like the iPad Pro actually is. So I can tell it's a simulated imagery being pasted on the iPad. I don't know why they're doing the simulated imagery. Why not just put it on the actual iPad? I don't know. Maybe it's easier in post to be able to paste that stuff on there. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it was cool that they got that like pizza box type team together again. They did a previous Apple commercial, everybody who was in this one. I think it was called The Underdogs or something, and now that they're all working from home, I was like, yeah, that's appropriate for the times. I'm also wondering, because they had some pretty professional grade cameras being used for that commercial, so I was like, well, there must have been cameraman. There was a little bit of meetups going on here. I don't know how much, but yeah. You were correct, good sir. Glad we did it safely and you got to enjoy the car. I very much did. Thank you for the meetup. And yeah, we kept our masks on as much as possible. If the camera was rolling and pointed at me, I would take it off. But other than that, I would keep the mask on as much as we could. So no, I'm not getting any hints from the video. But yeah, that was a fun time. They aren't. Why would they use unreleased products? They aren't Google. Exactly. They've probably been filming this thing for months now. Remember the notchless iPhone from that ad last year? Oh, the commercials for all kinds of businesses have had notchless iPhones and all kinds of products that don't exist because so many commercials just use simulated imagery where they just take the screen of something and paste it on, and they don't want to take the time to mask out the notch, so it's easier for them to just put on the full-on screen. That's my point about notchless phones, though, is that if Apple removed the notch, no one would care. It would do like nothing. Everyone would be like, huh, what? Oh, yeah, I guess that's gone. Whatever. But we see notchless phones in commercials all the time, and no one ever asks any questions at it. Yeah, they're all over the place. Let's see. Oh, I didn't... There's apparently a new Star Wars show. I didn't hear about that. Any colors you're looking forward to from iPhone 12? I'm pretty much set on silver unless they do two things. I've said for the past few years, I think now, that the two things to get me to switch away from silver, just because it's very clean, white contrasts well with pretty much any color, so it just looks nice with my other devices, the silver ecosystem type thing. The two colors you could get me to switch away from silver is a jet black, so I don't want like a grayish, space gray. I want like a piano black like the iPhone 7 jet black, or they could do product red. I'm a diehard fan of product red iPhones. I think they look really, really cool. So if they did a product red design for the 12 Pro Max or something, sure, I would break my tradition. I would break my ecosystem. But other than that, no. I think I'll pretty much stick with silver. I'm not super into the navy dark blue type thing that has been rumored. I'm still not sure if it's legit. I like normal blue. I like this type of blue. I like this type of blue. And I like just kind of the overall blue color scheme the Tailosive Tech channel has, but I'm not a big fan of the navy blue color because it's too dark, it's hard to notice, and I don't like faded color. I like saturated, noticeable colors that stand out. Slate black is what they used to call it. Yeah, on the iPhone 5, it was kind of a hint at a blue, but it was mostly dark. Loved my midnight green, but I wish I could find a good case for it that didn't make it look plastic like. Yeah, they can have that effect. In conclusion, phones are boring. They're going to continue to get boring. That's why I talk so much about Teslas, is because they seem to be getting more and more interesting as we go on. Oh, we've got a few Tesla owners in this chat that I know personally. And I'm just going to remind you guys, we need more Smart Summon videos. Okay? I was doing some research this morning, and I was trying to see how Smart Summon has changed over time. And there's been like 3 channels on all of YouTube that have posted recent Smart Summon videos, like within the month of July. And from what I've seen, it's actually improved quite a bit. It's gotten faster, it's gotten better. I think it's a cool technology, but I feel like when it first rolled out, it was really buggy and no one wanted to use it. So everyone was hesitant about it. But from the 3 videos I saw, it seemed to be getting pretty good. So we need more people staying up to date. Like, you know how Dirty Tesla does his autopilot update videos where he's like, here's how full self-driving is doing today, here's what it got better at, here's what it got worse at. We need more of that with Smart Summon, because I think that tech is cool. Whoa! Mike says he uses Smart Summon twice a week. That's a lot. Reminds me of that one meme where he's like, I do it twice a week. Has no one seen that? Oh well. Teslas are more interesting. Who cares about the Note 20 Ultra and some Samsung Beans? Did you guys see the Samsung Bean leak? It's basically their new earbuds. I don't know how they're going to fit. What I've discovered after using Galaxy Buds and AirPods is that it's kind of nice to have that stem. I know everyone's thought the stem was stupid on AirPods. It's like, it looks like toothbrush hanging out of your ear. You know, everyone's like, haha, that looks bad. Give me 5. That's what kind of happens with every Apple product. But what's nice about that stem is it's really easy to pull them out. With Galaxy Buds, it's kind of like, you got to dig it out like a Q-tip. It's kind of gross. I don't like digging it out. I will tell you personally that it's not that much better. We'll document it. Post about it. Make videos on it. I want to see it. I know, I just watched Tesla Driver's new Smart Summon video, but he's in the UK, so the EU has some massive restrictions on how the self-driving stuff can be utilized. Like, they have limitations on how hard the car can turn and that kind of thing. So that's why what Tesla driver experiences is not the same of what people experience in the U.S. Can I get a beans texture on my Galaxy with my beans buds? So many beans. Yeah, can we get Jelly Belly Samsung beans, please? They're not going to be called beans. It's just what they look like. Not to say that that means they're bad. You know, if the internet has proven anything, it's that if your product can be memed, it's probably going to do pretty well. Consoles are really easy to meme. Especially, like, I don't even know how you memed the Xbox, but people did because it's just a box. It's literally a box, and people are like, oh my god, it looks like a refrigerator. Okay, it looks like a building. Okay, what's wrong with the build? Nothing's wrong with it. We just, like, whenever a new design comes out, people love to be like, this looks like this thing. See, I have made a comparison. Just like the iPhone 11 Pro, when that came out, everyone was like, it's a face, or it's the stove, you know, it's the stove top, there's different grills for the cameras, that kind of thing. I was actually pretty excited for the new Samsung buns until I saw how they looked. I guess people don't like the look, huh? I can't see what's functionally good about having a bean-shaped earbud. Maybe there's something benefit to that. Yeah, the peak of comedy. This looks like that. That is the peak of comedy. The other thing I've noticed with many meme compilations I watch is that loud equals funny. Pretty much anything can be considered a meme if it ends with a loud sound. You know, just end it with a scream that gets cut. Meme. Someone who uses Galaxy Buds, it's not great. My phone constantly switches back and forth with my phone speakers and the Galaxy Buds, even when I don't use them. Also, the audio sometimes gets laggy. Oh, okay. Well, there's our updated review on Galaxy Buds from Derek. Thanks for the update. I think it's fine that iPhone 12 not have 120 Hz. This is because OnePlus 8 Pro had great green tint and black crush issue, and even a few Samsung devices had display issues. Well, Apple can wait on this stuff and figure it out. I think it's important, and I'm going to do a video on it later, so this is a spoiler stream, but I have definitive proof and data that 120 hertz is much more important than people make it out to be. I know, I'm not saying that it is happening. I'm not saying that I believe the leaks that 120 hertz is confirmed. If anything, because of how often the leakers flip-flop about 120 hertz, personally, I don't think it's going to happen, and I think that's a big mistake. I don't think they're going to have 120 hertz, and I think they should, because if they don't, significantly less people are going to buy the 12 Pro, because there's two OLED iPhones at 6.1 inches, and sadly, telephoto and LiDAR is not going to justify an extra $250 to $300 for people in the market for a new iPhone. It's not going to cut it. And I ran several polls, which are all in my favor. They've all given me proof. Because what I hear on one side of the spectrum, on my own dang podcast, yes, I see you, all these people say, 120 hertz, it's kind of minor. Not that many people notice it. The average person can't tell the difference. Well, that's why your argument would make sense if we were talking about the regular iPhones. If we were just talking about the regular 12 and the 12 Max, you'd have a point. But we're talking about the 12 Pro. We're talking about the Pro, tech-oriented, expensive, stainless steel iPhones. If the Pros don't have 120 hertz, they're going to flop. And I know this because I have now polled over 10,000 people between Twitter and YouTube. That's a big number, okay? In an internet sample size, that's pretty big. And I'd love to see someone that finds evidence contradicting mine with a larger number of people polled than I do, okay? And also, don't try to do your whole, you're a tech-oriented audience, people. That's what the Pro phones are for. They're for the techies. They're for the people who care about pixel density, telephoto, battery life. Like, they're not the everyday consumer phone. That's what the 12 is. All right? The 12s, that's for everybody else. Those will sell great. The 5.4 inch and the 6.1 inch 12 and 12 Max, those will sell wonderfully. Everybody's going to buy them. Everyone's going to love the new squared off design, the OLED display. Everyone's going to love it. No debate there. They're going to sell great. But when it comes to the 12 Pro and the 12 Pro Max, every poll I ran, there were more people, objectively, statistically, there were more people that said, I will only buy the 12 Pro if it has 120 hertz. Then there were people that said, I'm going to buy the 12 Pro no matter what. I'm pulling them over. Exactly. We're not talking about this. We're talking about this. So before everybody goes off and says 120 hertz isn't that big a deal, or who needs 120 hertz, you can't really notice it, we have definitive proof now, over 10,000 people, that there are a larger demographic of people that are on the fence about the Pros and will say, I'll get it if it has 120 hertz, but if it doesn't, I won't get it. Then there are people that says, I'll get it no matter what. See, personally, when I voted for I'll get it no matter what, because I'm the Apple sheep. I just want the biggest display possible. I'm into the Pro Max because it'll have a 6.7 inch display. If there was a cheaper iPhone with a bigger display, I'd probably get that. I just like the big screen. So my argument, I think, holds true that there is a larger demographic of people, so basically twice the size. Essentially, if the iPhone 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, if they have 120 hertz, they will do more than double as well if they don't. That's what the poll suggests, because there are a ton of people on the fence about getting them that I've seen countless times in the chat, because, again, there's this whole demographic that says, you can't notice it, who cares, it's not that big a deal. But at the same time, I'm also getting all these comments and getting all these requests, still in the chat right now. Brian, he's asking away too. All these people constantly saying, I'll only get it if it has 120 hertz. If it doesn't have it, I'll just go with the regular 12, or I'll just get the regular 12 Max, or I'll wait until next year. I've seen how many countless comments. Oh my God, so many people saying, well, I have an iPhone 10 or I have an iPhone 10s. I was thinking about upgrading, but only if it has 120 hertz. If there's no 120 hertz, I won't upgrade. And now the polls have proved it. If you don't believe I have an accurate view case, well, you have a tech-oriented audience. Well, check out my older poll where I asked which people Which iPhone are you getting? I asked everybody, and guess what? The overwhelming majority said pros. So we know that the majority of the tech audience is leaning towards the pros anyway. But then once I asked them, will you only get it if it has 120 hertz? Majority said yes. Most of them said yes. I will only get it if it has 120 hertz. It's a bigger deal than you think. If you're not a fan of it or you don't think it's that important, you're just not part of the demographic because it is huge. It is much larger than the people that will get it no matter what. All right, 10 bits from Very Complex says Apple sells a bike helmet on their website for $250 and I bought it. Wow. The art of the deal. Thank you, Very Complex, for the 10 bits. I hope you enjoy the helmet. I don't think that many people buying the iPhone can see the difference, but I do have to apologize because I completely misread the tweet and I commented on and didn't mean to sound so rude. You didn't come across as rude. We just respectfully disagree. There's no disrespect to people who don't think it's a big deal. I completely get it. And I also completely admit most people can't tell the difference. I get that. I'm not speaking to most people. I've tried to show 120 hertz to lots of people in my personal life. I can confirm most people can't see the difference. But that argument doesn't hold up when it comes to the Pro iPhones because most people can't tell the difference between an LCD and an OLED display. Doesn't, like, if you're going to play the average consumer argument, that doesn't hold up for today's market. That's why everybody buys the iPhone 11 and not the 11 Pro. And that's when the 11 Pro has screen advantages. If it doesn't even have a screen advantage, doesn't even have a size advantage other than the Pro Max, people are going to pass. There's going to be a huge amount of people that don't want it if it doesn't have 120 hertz, and that's going to make it sell exceptionally worse. Far, far lower. Thank you, Rymo, for the Twitch Prime. Thanks for watching. Let's see. I'm on an annual upgrade program, which will give me the latest iPhone no matter what. Yeah, but there's 2 iPhones that aren't Pro, and there's 2 iPhones that are Pro. So will you pay extra per month so you can have telephoto and LiDAR? Maybe you will. But the poll suggests significantly less. I think the 12 and 12 Max will sell great because you can get OLED on that thing. 60 hertz is fine and significantly cheaper if you go with the 12 and 12 Max. People aren't going to spend an extra $250 to $300 on LiDAR. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Let's see. I switched from iPhone 6 to iPhone XR. The XR is a heavy device, and I missed the iPhone 6. Well, get an SE then. It's cheaper. It will remind you of your 6. For someone who will buy the 12 Pro Max and keep it for the next 4 to 5 years and plays a lot of games and videos, do you still recommend it even though there will be no 120 hertz? So wait another year. It'll still be fine for 4 to 5 years. I mean, I like 120 hertz a lot, but if you can wait another year, I guess the thing is you can play the waiting game forever. There will always be a better iPhone. But if your current phone's holding up fine and you might be in a better financial space a year from now, I don't know. I guess you could if 120 hertz is that important to you. Finally, I've been waiting for over a decade to have LiDAR on my phone. I feel like during the transition to Apple Silicon chips, Apple will drop the iMac Pro and just add a space gray option to iMac, and they will give more powerful upgrades. I don't think they'll do a space gray option, but I do think that they will get rid of the iMac Pro. They will more than likely just the new iMacs with the Apple Silicon and the updated design language that makes it look like the iPad Pro. Yeah, those will be up-to-date, high, powerful enough that they overlap with the iMac Pro market and they won't need the iMac Pro anymore. I could see that happening. I will buy the most expensive iPhone every year. Yes, exactly. That's the boat I'm in. Whatever the most expensive one is, I get that one. Who cares what's on it? Which there was an option for that in all the polls. I provided an option for people who said they would buy the 12 Pro no matter what. And guess what? That was significantly less voted on than the people that said, I will only get it if it has 120 hertz. They're including 5G, and I think that's useless too. Wait, why am I upgrading this year again? 5G is like, being force-fed to us, essentially. If you could take $1, no, not even that. If you could keep the iPhone the exact same price, like, let's say at checkout, they would never do this. This is just a hypothetical. But let's say at checkout, they were like, okay, do you want 5G on your phone or do you not want 5G on your phone? And there's no change in price. I would pay the exact same amount either way. I would still choose the phone without 5G because that's how little I care about it. I just actively not I just actively do not care about the 5G modems. Wow, Randy keeping us up to date with the breaking news. 30 California counties are shutting down, including San Diego, coming from the governor. Does this mean our trip is canceled? Oh my god. That means I don't have to fix my Sonata because it's falling apart on me. What do you think of car key? I think it's just a gimmick. The car key feature in iOS 14 feels like, as someone who's a huge Tesla fan, it feels like a extra middle step that doesn't need to be there because Tesla already fixed this problem with car keys in the past. With Teslas, you just link the car to your phone, and when you walk up to the car, it unlocks. You don't have to hold your phone up to the door handle or anything like that. And I know there's some newer cars that are going to support just walking up to it and unlocking, but I don't understand why you need car key for that. I feel like the car companies should just support that through the app anyway. Oh, Randy said he'll report back as he gets more info. Oh no, our trip. Oh, we've already delayed it. We're gonna have to delay it again. Ugh. I like how you can text the car key though. You could do that with a Tesla. The app just lets you unlock it remotely. You can let someone else drive it if you need to. It's not that hard. Car key would be cool 3 years ago. Yeah, I would agree. Nowadays, when we're in the age of Teslas, I'm like, I just don't care about car key. Probably because I know I'm never going to get a car with CarPlay or car key. I know there's people out there, especially Randy, who are diehard CarPlay fans and they love Apple CarPlay. But maybe when you're coming from someone who's driven a dumb car their whole life, you see the Tesla's user interface and you're like, no, that's fine. I'll just use that. I've seen CarPlay and I'm like, I don't see the big appeal to it. Especially because the Tesla lets you just put your phone right there. You can just run stuff anyway, but I don't know. Yeah, car key is probably good for non-Tesla owners. If you hate Tesla and you don't plan on buying a Tesla, then yeah, sure, car key is probably really great. But my goal and my hope is that I only buy Tesla vehicles for the rest of my life. Legitimately. I don't ever plan on buying another car other than a Tesla for the rest of my life. And I'm not even a Tesla owner. My goal, I think if you go back and watch Telosa videos even from like 2017 and 2018, I think I recall myself saying my goal is that my current car can last me until I can get a Tesla. That's my hope. And so far it seems like that might be the case as long as my car doesn't fall apart on me. The engine started giving me trouble the other day, so I'm worried. I'm wondering if it has some major issue or if it's a minor issue. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. I do not own a Tesla other than the Hot Wheel on my desk. The 2021 Kia K5 Optima will have wireless CarPlay / Android Auto. Do you think that is in preparation for when Apple removes the Lightning port? It could be, but at the same time, why wouldn't you want wireless CarPlay? I don't understand. Whenever we brought up portless iPhones, all these people started going on and on about, well, my car needs a port for CarPlay. It's like, you know they can do that wirelessly, and they will move towards that as soon as they can, you know. Would you rather plug in your phone when you get in the car or just have it start working wirelessly with CarPlay? Like, I I don't know. But I've been a big fan of Tesla even since before I have the car I have now, and whenever I got that, I think I was almost graduated from high school. I was like a couple months away from graduating when we took the money I had saved for college and put that into the car because my parents were like, oh, well, he's not going to college, so you need a new car. So we got that car, and I was like, well, I hope this car can last long enough to the point that I can get a Tesla. So that was the hope. We'll see. Don't know if it'll last. We'll find out. I would just hate with my heart and soul if I had to buy another gas car before I get a Tesla. If I do, it'll be like the cheapest gas car I can possibly find because I would rather save that money and put it towards the car. But if the car dies before we're financially ready to buy a Tesla, then I can't do it. So I would have to. Nick is texting. I mean, Randy is texting me. Should I read it? Oh, it's just what we know in the chat. Whatever. Nothing is new. Um, hey, that name's taken. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub for 20 months. That's a long time. Wow. What will Apple do after 120 hertz notch free in 5G? No, we're getting 5G this year. Which again, this is why, if you guys were curious why I'm working so hard on EV videos, this is exactly why. Is because I know that smartphones are going to get increasingly boring as years goes on, and there's going to be less and less things to talk about. I think for the next couple years, what's actually going to be more interesting to talk about, as we've discovered in this Twitch stream, and not just this one in particular, but all the Twitch streams, is that it's actually become much more fun to talk about the Apple Silicon transition. There's a ton more conversations right now going on about what will the iMac get, what will the MacBooks do, what will the Mac Pro get, That's going to be a big point of discussion for the next couple of years, just watching this transition take place. I think that's going to be kind of the talk of the tech community for a while. But after that, I don't know. What are we going to talk about with iPhones all the time? I don't know. Because again, the changes we're going to get in next year are going to be incredibly minor. 11 bits from very complex. What lame feature does Apple overhype more, AR or Memoji? I don't think they barely talked about Memojis at the last keynote. But I also guess they didn't talk about AR either. Man, the last keynote was good. I love it when they leave out the bull crap like that. Both of those things they hype up a lot. I've seen people use Memoji quite a bit, though. I've seen a lot of people that like using it. AR, though, I have a very hard time finding people that like it. I'll say augmented reality. AR is only cool when the glasses come out. Before that, it's very gimmicky and uninteresting. I've seen a ton of people mess around with Memojis and stuff, but when it comes to AR, it's like, what? I can play a game? Oh, look, you can put the furniture on the ground. Okay, cool, that's what the furniture looks like. Like, ooh, the new Measure app. You can get measurements with the AR. No, don't rely on that. That thing is so inaccurate. Oh, my God. Vinny donated 100 bits. I know you really want a Tesla. Put this towards your Cyberquad. Thank you, Vinny. I don't know if I'll ever have a Cyberquad. I guess we have a little bit of property here to drive it around with, but it would probably get old pretty quick. Is there a way we could rent a Cyberquad on Turo? That's probably not a thing. I would do it if you could. If it was like $100 for the day, that would be fun. Take it to the dunes or something. That sounds like fun. Let's see. What have we learned about the new iPhones today? Qualcomm is a monopoly. We've also learned from one source that I am questioning the legitimacy of, but someone is saying that the iPhone's batteries are going to be physically much smaller, which I don't know if I buy that because they're adding 5G and the footprints are getting larger, not smaller, so I don't, other than the 5.4 inch model, I can get why that battery is small, but the rest, I don't know. I don't think I buy it. I don't believe it. What do you mean is gimmicky? I can see a Cybertruck in my living room. Yeah, that's a gimmick. Because you do it once and then you never do it again. Like, how many times a week do you put the Cybertruck in your living room? You take one picture and then you're done with it. And by the way, you can do that with a regular camera. You don't need LiDAR for that. They hyped up AR so much they added a LiDAR sensor to the iPad for that reason alone and no other reason. I'm like, you show it off on Twitter once and then you never use it again. Wow. Ooh, don't lag on me, OBS. I saw that. Wow, look at this IKEA desk. Looks like in my living room because I couldn't visualize that myself. It's like somewhat handy, but it gets old very quickly. It would be super exciting and cool if you could wear glasses and display them, on your vision. That would be one thing, but that's not what's happening yet. AR is actually really useful for interior designers and similar industries. I'm sure it is for them, but it's a niche market, I would say. It's not a huge part of the market. If your current car breaks down before you're ready to get a Tesla, get a Toyota or a Honda until you get a Tesla. Toyotas and Hondas can last for a long time. Avoid Chrysler cars. Gotcha. Yeah, I'd probably go on, Facebook yard sale and try to find the cheapest one I can. Like, I need this car to last me 12 months. If it can last me 12 months, I'll be fine. Isn't LiDAR there now so they can test it for eventually AR glasses? I've heard that. I don't quite understand why they need the real world data if they can just do that internally anyway, but I don't know. What do you think about 120 hertz not making it to the Pro by Max? It means it's the same guy who 100% confirmed reverse wireless charging last year. I'm not surprised if they don't roll out 120 hertz because they don't have the LTPO display switcher that they put in the Series 5 and the iPad Pros, which allows them to have a variable refresh rate. So to me, it would make sense that they would wait on that before they roll out 120 hertz. I still think it's a bad idea for them to not have it, but there's been no reports that they're going to add that. So I don't believe they'll have 120 hertz. I heard one person say that it's working on the Pro Max but not the Pro. When I read that, I was like, okay. I was like, I could live with that. Only the 6.7-inch iPhone can get 120 hertz. You know what? I accept. I will do it. I will take it. Even if it's like $200 more than the regular 12 Pro. Like, fine. I'll do it. I was gonna buy that one I was gonna buy that one anyway. If you can only make it work on one of them, I'll get that one. Whatever. No, they can't do variable refresh rate between 1 and 60 because they don't have the LTPO display switcher like the Series 5 and the iPad has. So, yeah, I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay. So not both the Pros have 120 hertz, just the big one. Fine. I'll live with it. Have you heard the rumor that ARM chips are supposed to be able to play AAA games? You can play AAA games on the current Macs. It's not the problem. It's that developers don't want to support them. How many times do we have to go over this, people? Hardware is not the issue with games on Mac. It's software optimization by game devs. They don't want to optimize their games for Apple hardware. So if they're not doing it now, I don't know why they would do it with Apple Silicon. Oh yeah, Apple hypes up Wild Nights the most. There's a lot of things Apple overhypes, like Apple News Plus. I thought that was the dumbest service ever. It was ridiculous. Also, it doesn't seem like Apple Arcade is going very well. They're already offering like a second free trial month to people because apparently the games on Apple Arcade weren't engaging enough. So they removed a bunch of games and put in new ones, and now they want people to have another free trial or something. So I think it's I think the services, they push a little too hard sometimes. I know they're trying to move towards subscription-based stuff, but honestly, the whole like replacing the updates tab in the App Store with the Arcade tab, even if you don't subscribe to Apple Arcade, it's still there. Like, it's messed up. Don't do that, Apple. You're pushing them too hard. And I still get push notifications from Apple TV Plus. Like, it's even poorly designed too because I got the notification on my watch. I like looked at my watch and there was a little pop-up and it said tap here to watch the latest, Greyhound movie. And I tapped it. Nothing happened because I'm on the watch, obviously. But I just thought it was weird that they would ping the watch saying tap this to watch the latest. Ugh. I deleted the news app from my phone a long time ago. Yeah, I did too. I used to like Apple News. When they first launched it, and things were in chronological order, which I guess is so impossible to ask for these days. All these news companies and YouTube and all that, you guys know why we keep using Twitter, right? It's because that's the only way to get stuff in real time as it's happening. Why is it so complicated for companies to understand? We want things to be posted in real time. We want the latest stuff at the top, and then as it gets older, it goes down. Why the heck do so many companies be like, well, we should rearrange that and put the most relevant stuff at the top? Shut up. No. YouTube, I want subscriptions because they show the latest videos at the top and they make their way down. Stop trying to push this homepage recommended Explore tab type thing. They made it so worse on the TV app. Before it was like you would open the YouTube app and you would go straight to subscriptions. Now they put subscriptions like below everything else. It's almost like they're going to put a maze in the next update. They're going to make you like unlock it with a secret password. It's going to, Skyrim with the like lock picking technique and you have to get really good at knowing exactly how to pick the lock. That's how it's going to be trying to find subscriptions on the YouTube app. They used to have it when you open YouTube, it would be like, boom, here's the people you subscribe to. Now it defaults to your homepage and then under that they put trending or explore, and then under that they put like movies, gaming, rentals, sign up for YouTube TV. They put like 8 things in the way, and at the very, very bottom they put subscriptions, right beneath the exit app settings tab. When Apple News put stuff at the top, I used it a lot, and then they started breaking that, and they made it harder and harder. Now you have to turn off all these things because I just want to look at Apple News for the tech stuff, and yet they keep forcing me, like, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. I don't care. I don't want to hear about politics. I didn't sign up for that. They just keep shoving it in my face, and I'm like, I never asked to hear what was going on with politics. I wanted to read the tech news. Oy. Oh, well. Very Complex says, I used to like Apple News, but then they started spamming my feed with BuzzFeed articles and whatever news Apple thought was best, so I had no control over my content. I agree. And you can try to rearrange it as much as you want through the settings app, but they keep updating it and changing it every time to the point that it was just ridiculous. That's why I get all my news from Twitter now, is because it seems like the only way to get stuff that's relevant at the top. It's like, I want to know about things as they're happening. The really frustrating thing I experienced with Apple News is that they would start posting articles in Apple News that they claimed were relevant or hand-picked by our best editors or something that were so irrelevant, that were completely not relevant to the time I was reading it. Like, it would be like reading today an article that says the iPhone XS and XS Max launched today. It's like, wait, why is that there? You tap on it and it's like, oh, this article is from 2 years ago. It's like, what? Why are you still posting this? Why is this in my Today view? I don't know. Whatever their hand-picked thing was, always posting articles of stuff like, iPhone 6 launches tomorrow. Why is this in my feed in 2020? I don't know. What did Randy say? Apple should focus on bettering iCloud storage plans and stuff like that over Arcade. I don't know if they can make them any better. There's probably a certain amount of, this is how much we have to spend. This is how much we can save if we offer this. I don't know exactly what they do, but I think they should work on bundling stuff. I basically am only interested in subscriptions that make my side of the story better. I don't know really if much subscriptions Apple could come up with. Like, I liked the idea that if you're an Apple Card user, you could get like more iCloud storage or something, or if you're an Apple Card user, you get free Apple Music or something like that. I don't know. I'm no services guru. I don't know what I'm talking about. TV Plus is the worst about notifications. I agree. Let's see. How to be an Apple leaker in June 2020. The iPhone 12 Pro has passed 3 out of 5 tests right now. I know. People could be totally making that up, and there's no way to prove if they're right or wrong, which I find kind of funny. Ugh. Make a video about Samsung versus Google war and how much it was bad for Android. I don't really know much about that, which is why I feel like I shouldn't make that video. I just feel like Samsung is constantly trying to put their own software on their phones, and Google's trying to take over at the same time. OnePlus is better at coexisting. When I used my OnePlus phone, it didn't feel like they were fighting for each other's attention. It didn't feel like, no, use the OnePlus app. No, use the Google app. It was much more seamless. With Samsung, everything just kind of fought back and forth. Every time you opened an app, it was like, open this. No, open this. Open this. I don't know. That's as far as I know about it. Samsung relies on Google's software, but tries to distance themselves from Google as much as possible. Yeah, it is kind of bizarre. It's like, you need them, but you don't like them. So people are kind of like, Samsung, can you just make your own OS or get with the program? Can you just get on with Google at this point? I don't know. Maybe they should make more hardware services, maybe ecosystem bundles. Yeah, that'd be nice. That kind of thing. I mean, the Apple Card financing, 0% interest financing thing was kind of an ecosystem bundle. Get the Apple Card, you can pay anything off over 6 to 12 months. I'm not going to use it myself, but I think that's cool. It's handy. It's potentially dangerous if you're not financially wise, but other than that, if you know how to use it, it's fine. I want Face ID on the MacBook. I don't know what to tell you. I don't have any new info on that. I say Apple make more useful subscriptions. I use Apple Music and iCloud storage because they're useful, and TV Plus should just remain free for Apple users because it's not worth the price, and the TV app needs a lot of work. I don't know if they could get away with making it free for all Apple users forever. I feel like they probably wouldn't be able to measure the success of that. I would be in favor of people who buy new hardware get more TV Plus for free. But to be honest with you, I've had it for free for like almost a year now, and I still have barely used it. I can't find much I'm interested in on that service. Though I'm not subscribed to much. I don't subscribe to Netflix or Hulu or Disney, so I'm probably the wrong person to try to convince it's worth it. I made the switch from Android to iPhone in December. I respectfully admire both sides. However, I'm never going back to Android. I'm saving up for a MacBook as well because they don't lose 40 to 60% of their performance when unplugged. Ooh, okay. Glad you made the switch that suits you best. No disrespect to anybody who enjoys Android or Google or Samsung. Just get whatever works for you. What if iMessage became a paid service? I know everyone said I was crazy when I pitched about that, but I legitimately think if they did iMessage on Android for a monthly cost, I legitimately think it would do well. And I know people probably would hate them for it, and they'd be like, "Oh, Apple's gouging the price." It's like, hey, they're providing a service. They got to get their money somehow from that service. If you buy an iPhone, yeah, it's free. But if you want to use iMessage and you're on Android, why not? Some people would do it. Not everybody, but I'm telling you, people would do it. I've been hearing that the Samsung ecosystem has gotten pretty good now and is close to Apple's. Why don't you make a video trying out a Samsung ecosystem for like 3 weeks with the Samsung Galaxy Book S10 or S20 Galaxy Watch? The reason it's not the same is because you have to install a bunch of Samsung stuff, especially on the PC side of things. The best compatibility I love between my iPhone and Mac is that there's not all this third-party stuff you have to download. Samsung doesn't make Android, and they don't make Windows. So you have to install Samsung stuff, or you have to buy the specific Samsung stuff, but they fight each other. Randy's got another update. Restaurants, entertainment center, bars, worship, malls, salons, barbershops, and non-critical offices are to shut down. Oof! Here we go. Samsung ecosystem works with non-Samsung products. It's true. You just have to install it on everything. I've used Samsung phones before, and I didn't even use the ecosystem with that phone, and I can tell you it's already not as good. I've tried that. It's not the same thing, especially just trying to get AirDrop to work properly between those two devices. And I kind of need Final Cut. So Final Cut's kind of important. I don't know. Maybe if I get really bored and uninspired, I'll try that someday. But I've got way too many videos planned for the future for me to want to spend that kind of money. That would be a lot of money to spend on a video that I don't even think would do very well. Whenever I don't talk about Apple products, the video's like, who cares? I've gotten close to Apple levels of integration between my phone and computer, but I needed to install everything myself. Yeah, it's true. That's how it works. Also, the Apple Watch unlocking the Mac thing. Ooh, that's so handy. I love being able to just go to the Mac and it's like clink and it unlocks. Do you ever think Apple would swap their Pro App Suite to a subscription service? Yes. I absolutely think that could happen. In fact, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done it yet because long term, I feel like selling Final Cut and Logic for a fixed price probably hurts the software developers long term because they have to keep providing updates and support to these things, and they never get any extra money from the people who bought them once. I don't think they should they shouldn't convert people who have already paid for it to switch to a subscription model. Obviously, I've already paid for it, so I don't think Apple should just decide, hey, you know what, Drew, we're going to actually start charging you for that, even though we said you pay for it. I would just say for new customers, they could find some delicate balance of, okay, it's much cheaper than it was before, but now you can sign up for it. In the long term, yes, it might end up being more expensive, but it becomes more accessible for more people. So I would say something not like Adobe expensive. Adobe starts you off when you're a student at like $15 a month, and then over time they move you up to 20, 25, 30. When I was a full-time YouTuber, I'm still am, but back when I still had Adobe, they started to push me up to $50 a month, and that's when I drew the line. I was like, nah, this is stupid. I canceled. So I don't think Apple should do that. They could make it really competitive. Like, what if they did a Pro Apps bundle for like $10 a month? Maybe less than that. Maybe like $9 a month. And you can get Final Cut, Logic, and Xcode, or I don't know, 3 Pro apps from Apple all at once or something. Um, Maybe offering both options. Yeah, maybe. There might not be too much harm in offering both. Maybe make it more expensive or something. You want to kind of entice people to sign up for the subscription. You want kind of people to be like, well, how much money am I saving by buying it outright versus, $10 a month isn't that inconvenient. I agree from a financial perspective, it is much smarter to buy things outright. I agree with that. But from a business perspective of providing options to consumers, I know a whole lot of people that want to use Final Cut and Logic and Xcode, or those types of apps, that don't really have $300 or $200 to drop on software right now. But they could totally. I forgot Xcode is free. Never mind. If they can afford a $10 a month subscription, that's probably way more obtainable for a ton of people. Ooh, there you go. A subscription could include cloud storage. That'd be kind of nice. Yeah, there should be an EV podcast today. It's just a little late. The guys are working on it. Let's see. There's a Galaxy Watch Unlock Your PC thing, but then again, you need to install that. I'm sure you could work really hard and buy all the right things and get everything to be somewhat compatible, but it's just, I imagine because you have to install everything, it wouldn't work as seamlessly or as reliably. And at the end of the day, it's the software exclusives that I'm kind of tied to Mac OS and iOS for, The Play Store, just objectively, I'm sorry. I don't even think I'm stretching the imagination when I say it's not a personal preference thing. It's just the quality of apps on the Play Store are not as good as the iOS App Store. They're just more clunky. They're not as optimized, especially when it comes to the Galaxy Gear or the watches and stuff. The way that watch works compared to the Apple Watch, it's just not as smooth. It's not built as well. Same with the App Store. And you're not going to find a tablet on Samsung side of things that's better than an iPad when it comes to A12X chip, 120 hertz display, Face ID. Everything's just going to be a little bit more distorted, even if you bought all the right things and installed all the right software. But I genuinely feel like Play Store apps are just more clunky overall. Hey Drew, what's up? Thanks from Thai Geek. Thanks for the Twitch Prime sub. I'm about to wrap up, so I'm sorry you're just tuning in, but appreciate it. Does the video you did on pets also apply to kids? No. I don't look at kids the same way I look at pets because kids are humans and pets are not humans. So I think personally, I know some people like to blur those and act like, well, pets are more fun than kids or they're basically the same as kids. I don't see it that way because a kid will increasingly over time become more independent. When they get older, you're able to have a conversation with them, and you're able to pass on your beliefs and your morals and your ideologies to a child that's your own, and you can teach them, hey, this is how we can become a better person, and that's how you want your legacy to live on. You want your morals and your values to live on to another person. And even at a very young age, even after 6-7 years of them being around, they start going to school, they start learning, they start meeting other people and make friends with each other. And your dog or your cat, they're fun and you enjoy spending time with them and they can be cool to have around. But your dog or your cat, as far as I know, unless there's some miracle out there, as far as I know, that dog or cat is not going to learn how to talk. And it's not going to become more independent in the future. And maybe a little bit that it's like, okay, we can leave it at the house for a while. But for the most part, you're going to have to continue to take care of that, and it's going to continue to be dependent on you for food and water and nurturing and time until it dies. And it's going to die most of the time much, much sooner than your child will. Whereas, a child will eventually grow up and become more and more independent. Once they get into their teenage years and they start driving themselves, it requires less and less of your time, and eventually they move out. And now it's just a really cool person that you happen to raise and grow up, and, you just get to hang out with them now. So I see kids very differently than I see dogs and cats. I think those are entirely different. And anyone I've talked to who has had kids I've never heard them say my pet was way more fun than my kid. There are people who don't have kids who have pets who say pets are more fun, which is a little biased, but for them it may be the case. I'm not saying everyone needs to have kids. If you don't want to have kids, that's fine. That's totally respectful. And if you want to have pets, that's totally fine. I get it. It's respectful. But acting like everyone should, I think, is a little closed minded and selfish because there's clearly some people who don't enjoy having an animal that they have to take care of all the time, nonstop, where there are some people that love that kind of thing and they just see them as part of the family and they love having an animal. So, it's just a personal preference thing. Let's see. Back to tech anyway. It's partly due to the fact that there is a subscription fee for developers to put apps on iOS, but just a one-time fee for the Play Store. Yeah, I think iOS users are more inclined to spend money, so you get higher quality apps on the App Store, and because the App Store has more strict guidelines about app optimization, apps just feel more ironed out and smooth on iOS than they do the Play Store, which is a bit more loose. It's a bit more, whatever. If you want to make an app that does that, go ahead. That's why there's more malware on the Play Store as well. I want pets and not kids, but hey, who knows how the future will turn out. To each their own. There's no right answer here. It's whatever you want. But if someone's asking about me personally, yes, I would like children, but I would not like pets. Because, I can talk to a kid eventually. And they can, we can become a family and go on trips together and share experiences and talk and go deep into discussion, that kind of thing. Whereas animals, not the same thing. Same thing. Okay. Your guys' cats and dogs can talk. Sorry. I've not met the right one, I guess. With how cheap Apple chips are compared to Intel chips and how cheap iPads are and what you get from them, if Apple wants to really get more market share, they could sort of transform iPads into Macs or simply put Mac OS on those iPads. And basically, every consumer on Earth is going to buy it because who wouldn't buy a Mac for $500? The Apple TV could easily become Mac Mini for $300. Yusuf, I know we've talked about this before, but again, I don't think that's the direction Apple's going with the Mac. I think that trying to get Mac OS to run on something with the A12 chip and 3 gigs of RAM is not going to go very well because every single Mac that's come out in the past, I think, 4 years now has had 8 gigs of RAM. So I don't think it's going to be that simple for them to just start booting up Mac OS on the older iPads. I think that if you're not interested in spending $1,000 on a Mac, they're just going to want you to buy an iPad, and they're just going to want to make iPad OS better, not bring Macs to the iPad. I don't know. Do you think Apple will ever make an iPhone that docks to become an iMac or MacBook with Apple Silicon? I actually had a video planned for that type of subject, but it's getting a little late in the day, so I'm going to have to get going. But I appreciate you all tuning in. I appreciate the donations and the Twitch Primes. But also, to quickly answer your last question, yes, I think in the long-term future, not the soon future, but long term, we could reach a point where it makes a lot of sense for your iPhone or iPad to kind of become the docking station for, a Mac whenever you need it. So we'll get there. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.